You're
good.
you're like me. I like to learn like I'm in kindergarten. So this is our cover page. Another logo. It's called our GSD book, and we need to start there because GSD is for getting shit done. If we have 30 agents going out and getting 5 reviews all at the same time, our team grew by 150 reviews in one day. I know the number I have to achieve to get you here from a monetary standpoint, but I also need to dive into what would be the reason you'd even sit down and talk to me. Is it you want to have better quality of life? Well, I'm going to
Mm.
wrap so many people around you that you're going to be able to make good money and have a life.
If you've listened to any number of these episodes, then you probably hear in the beginning that this episode is brought to you by my good friend Andy Bovender, the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. But interestingly enough, well, this episode is sponsored by him, but he's also my guest today. So stay tuned for that. So, this episode, if you're listening to it podcast version, I would actually recommend that you skip over or jump over to watch the video. Andy shares how he has developed his team. So he has a 44-person team. They're in 6 different counties. They've closed $2.5 billion in sales, lifetime sales. And what he shares today is the GSD guide. And this is the boots on the ground guide as to what his agents are doing daily to get to that number of transactions. So again, move over to the video platform and stay tuned for that. If you listen to the full episode and you do want a copy of this guide, scroll down below, and in the link, I'll give you Andy's email. You can literally just ping him. Super amazing guy, and I'll give you a copy. With that shared, if you want to learn more about the Inner Circle group, which is a group comprised of a lot of guests, Andy included, we meet actually 2 times a month. We talk shop, we help each other build our businesses, and we also pass referrals. So if you want to learn more about that, follow the link in the description below. And as always, I'm your host and San Francisco referral partner, Sean Kunkler. Andy, part 2. Let's go. I'm ready for this.
Thank you for part 2, by the way.
Of course. So to get everybody up to speed super quick, your team, these are the holy crap numbers. You guys did 2.5 billion in lifetime sales, which is staggering. That's over 5,000 families helped. Crazy numbers. You guys are in 6 markets, and you are running with 44 people on your team, which is, we'll class that as a brokerage. That's a big team. So first of all, thanks for carving out the time to sit down with me. Clearly, you're a busy guy. I want to dive right into it. I want to dive into the agents, their
Mhm.
mindset, their productivity, and what the hell are they doing every single day?
Well, I would say they're supposed to be doing all the things that you know and I know, and most agents who have been doing this for a little bit of time. If you did them every single day, you'd have a successful business.
Yeah.
So that's what they're supposed to be doing, and our job is to make sure that they are doing that every single day. Not
Mm.
overbearing accountability, but just making sure, leading by example, and making sure they're doing the same thing, that we're also doing the same thing, so they just follow the ones who have done it before them.
Mm. And so let's kind of jump in right from there. What is what does that structure look like? With having that many agents on your team, does everybody have, is there like little mini partnerships where you mirror somebody, or do you have regular meetings? How do you get everybody to move in the same direction?
Meetings for sure. We do have a mentor mentee program where our senior agents are assigned a new agent, and they are there to do a lot more of the consistent checking in on them to see what's working, what's not.
Yeah.
For example, just as a simple example, they did an open house this weekend. How many people showed up? Now, what are you going to do? Where are
Mm.
you putting those names? How often? Remember, we talked about this in that meeting, that their job is to go and get them to do the task that maybe I had that senior agent do when they were a younger agent.
Mm.
So we now have a leadership team that um, are the senior agents that followed the roadmap and did an amazing job at it.
Yeah.
We've now rolled people into leadership positions, the ones that we know love to lead,
Mhm.
love to mentor, love to collaborate and help others, which is probably a thing. Our tagline for our team would be, we love to help each other. Um,
Mhm.
that leadership team is in place for that, but we also have meetings to go back full circle. We have meetings specifically on the tasks that they should be doing every single day. And we've created a book that it's almost like an organizer. It's got calendar weekly, but it's all real estate focused
Mhm.
tasks that they should be doing every day, from keeping in touch with their sphere to scheduling open houses, doing apartment complex events, getting face to face with their raving fans, maybe not anybody in their database, but the
Yeah.
most valuable ones. Um, and so we've got a book we've created that they're supposed to use every day as well.
Amazing. I would love to talk about that. Yeah, it's funny. In the very beginning, you said they're supposed to be doing
Mm-hmm.
the things, but we get, all of us get distracted. You get lost in 4,000 emails and texts and everything else. And so it sounds like this guide is that thing that keeps pulling them back to do those basic activities to move the needle forward.
It really is, and you said it best, that we all struggle with. If we
We
took
do.
the whole team of who's doing the task that build their business the best, I would not rank number one in that. I would be somewhere towards the middle, because just like anybody else, I get distracted by emails coming in, that random call that comes up that I feel like I have to take that now. So I struggle like anybody with time blocking and
Yeah.
focus. So this book was my attempt to take what the most successful agents on this team do every single day and put it in an organizer, and then put meetings around it just to make sure that we're keeping the agents within the guardrails.
Yeah. I mean, clearly this book is working if you're hitting those crazy numbers. I mean, it's just, again, it's, you're at brokerage level numbers on your for your team. Um, I would love to dive into this book if you don't mind popping the hood and sharing.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think this is going to be incredible. And I hope people listening have a pen and paper ready to go.
So can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So this is the book we created. We've got our logo here on the front cover. And I'll just do a quick overview. Stop me, Sean, and let's go through any section. All of this stuff is going to come across as, wow, we do that or we do that every day, or we should be doing that every single day.
Yeah.
None of it's rocket science. It's not these shiny objects that we all go chasing.
Yeah, and talk to me like I'm a beginner,
Mhm.
because I think even for those really advanced seasoned agents, it's sometimes just a really good reminder of the little things. And so dumb it down to the most basic for me, if you
You're
could.
you're like me. I like to learn like I'm in kindergarten. So this is our cover page. Another logo. It's called our GSD book, and we need to start there because GSD is for getting shit done. And this,
I love that your personality just shines through, man.
yeah. Well, what's fun about this is this started off with us getting around a meeting, talking about what we all should be doing. And one of the agents one time said, "Well, are we going to do it? Are we going to do anything here, or just talk about doing it?" And so the Get Shit Done became the title of it, because now we come together and we all go chase things and do the tasks together.
Yeah,
So that's where GSD comes in, is the Get Shit Done button.
I love
So
that.
this,
So, not to interrupt, sorry. This is totally random, but my dad owned a company for like 40 years. And there, I think sometime in the 80s, they rolled it out as, it was called Thinkers and Doers. Was his whole, that like that was the mantra. Like, you can either be a thinker or a doer. And so it's the same core principle, which I love, being carried into a different business, completely different industry.
well, I've been described as that. What this? It's not Statue of David, but the one where he's got his fist up against his head, and
The
he's thinking.
thinker.
So I've been categorized as that because I love coming up with ideas,
You're
and
an
then
entrepreneur.
Then I'll talk about the ideas, and before you realize it, we've run out of time to do the doing piece. So luckily, I've surrounded myself with people who are better at the doing.
Yeah, I mean that's you just explained Apple in a nutshell. Is that you had Steve Jobs, the creative thinker, and then you had Wozniak, the executor.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. I do like to think up ideas, and I know you do too. Um, in this book, it kind of goes of just not to have to do the thinking piece of it. This book has an outline in the beginning that talks about every section of the book and kind of why it's in there, why it's important, like simple things like we have why should you be tracking your goals? Keeping goals in front of you is that visual that keeps you going, it keeps you showing up. If you know
Sure.
how many people are in your CRM, you'll think, oh, well, I met 2 people yesterday, let me get them in the CRM. So we've put things in this book that we know if you just do that, take that one step in that direction,
Hmm.
you'll do
Hmm.
step
Hmm.
2, 3, and 4, and you'll start to see the results. So um, this is some of the terminology we use, but one touch to some, one touch to many. These are keeping in touch with your sphere, but in a little bit more targeted. Like a one touch to many is sending out an email newsletter once a month. Are you
Mm.
sending out something to your database to be the resource for them from a real estate standpoint? One touch to some would be a little bit more targeted. So it could be I send out an email to agents, but maybe I send one to team leaders, or I send one to, being from Charlotte, I send one to my Charlotte past clients because the tax rates are changing.
Hmm.
To my group of tennis buddies, is if I've got them tagged well, I'm going to communicate to them in more of an intimate way. So this just explains, because we're going to show you the sections in just a minute. Sphere of influence, not only sphere of influence touches, but sphere of influence gifting.
Mm.
So we're big believers in gifting. We want to create top of mind awareness, but we really want to build relationships in an impactful way. And so we're not sending gifts just to send gifts. We're sending things that are a little bit more special.
Mm.
And GSD focus. Now this is this book. Every week when we do meetings, we have a focus of that week. And I'm going to give you one quick example. Is if everybody on the team, and there's 30 agents, if we have 30 agents going out and getting 5 reviews all at the same time, our team grew by 150 reviews in one day.
In
So
one day?
in one day. So we can,
That's wild, man.
but it's amazing what you do as a group. So let's take that even further. Sean, if you did that, but you did it with your networking group,
Hmm.
how many reviews could come in for a group like that if you did things together? So this is all about doing things together
True.
for a bigger impact and to create habit. Additional sections, if you want to just create normal habits for yourself, some of these things are personal level. Like I want to start waking up at 6 a.m. and meditating. There's spots in here to jot down what you're going to do every single day to create a new habit. Your vendors referred, those are your electricians, plumbers, you name it, jot them down. You're sending people out to your sphere of influence all the time. You're recommending painters, landscapers, pool maintenance companies. If you can track it and know how much business you're sending to vendors, isn't it a lot easier to go to them for sponsorships and for partnering on client events? We're big believers in refer them out. It also reminds you to check in with your sphere to see how it went. It's another reason just to keep on top of that.
Yeah.
Corporate calling is calling HR directors. HR directors typically bring in sometimes 5, sometimes 50 candidates a year to take on new jobs. Who are the HR directors in your area that you could reach out to land a relocation contract? This isn't a far fetched. We've got contracts with companies where we do 8 to 10 sales a year by one company. And all you got to do is land one company, and all of a sudden you got a whole new bucket of business. But if you don't think about it every single day, which is why it's in this organizer, you just won't make the phone calls until you stumble into somebody.
I think that's such a great point. It's like, without the plan, you don't go back to the thing. It goes back to what we were just joking about. It's like you think about it and then you don't actually execute on it and nothing gets done.
Yep, 100%. And that corporate calling is a big thing for us because Charlotte and the Carolinas is such a transient corporate relocation
There
part
you
of
go.
them.
Which is also important. Know your market, know the people. Who are they? Where are they going? Where are they coming from?
Sure. Well, and I'm going to skip over this because it goes into everything. Some of this for those Compass agents here listening, it does have Compass features that we know if we did a better job, like likely to sales, insights, things like that, that you would just naturally do a better job with running
Yeah.
your business.
Yep. Yep.
Face-to-face meetings, grabbing reviews, joining your networking calls. Are you part of a network, an affinity group, and are you making it to the meetings? Because that 100% will generate you business, especially if you're doing it from a standpoint of being a giver. What can you give to the networking group?
100%.
Get on.
100%.
Yeah, we love the networking piece, and Compass is an amazing place to do it.
Yeah, and to pause on that really quick, you can do parent groups, you can do groups for your schools or tennis, as you mentioned, playing. There's there's all kinds of networking groups. It doesn't have to be agent to agent. It could be you can form one with all your favorite vendors and you guys get together and talk shop. Like it really doesn't have to be that complex. But my God, the referrals and business that comes from it is staggering.
Yeah, honestly, I think the hardest part just being consistent with it.
It's true.
We get busy and the things that work for us drop to the wayside. Anyway, so it has 5 pages of overview. It's got calendars because we want our agents to be able to use it for everything every day.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, this is killer, man. Holy cow.
so this is a monthly overview. So we believe the things that you should do doing once a month, we've got them on their own page. So you don't have to look at them every single day or every single week. Just do them once a month. Referring your vendors, as someone reaches out and says, "Hey, do you have a good painter?" I'm jotting down the client's name and who I sent. All that is just to keep track of it so you can get it out of your brain and onto this paper. And then you can regroup every month and start to really tally things and take it to another level. Um, Tracking your activities to see what works. My background is baseball. I had a batting average, not only just on hitting altogether, but I had a batting average on curveballs, fastballs, inside pitches, outside pitches. That type of tracking showed you what you were great at, what you needed work on, and you could
Hmm.
a little bit better. So how many open houses are you doing? How many leads are coming through the door? Your follow up. So you can start to see that. Are you a 5% conversion rate, Sean?
Yeah.
And I'm a 3. Well, now
Which
it,
I would love to go back to your team. I taught a little mini breakout session of open houses. I would love to see the before and after numbers of their open house conversions. I'll ping your team.
yeah,
I'm now
please.
super curious, especially knowing that you track such granular information, which if it's important to your business, you have to measure it because without measuring it, you can't scale it. You can't change it.
Oh, 100%. And so we think of tracking everything. We want stats on everything because also being a team, if I know you're what I mentioned just before, if you're a 10% conversion rate on open houses because you're just great at connecting with people,
Yeah.
and I'm at 5, we partner together and you get me up to a 7?
Right.
A 7 is a bit significant difference in my income at the end of the year versus a 5.
Yeah.
So if we track this, we can partner them with agents on the team, tracking your goals here in the bottom right.
Which, to pause you really quick, even if you're just a solo agent, right, and you're tracking your numbers, then if you have that big listing opportunity, hey, I should really partner with an agent on this one because I have a skill gap here and I need to find somebody with that. They're the plus in those categories.
Oh, that is awesome. That is exactly that's where the ideas, once you start using a book like this and track, the ideas, the light bulbs start going off as
Yeah.
soon as you're doing this, especially if you do it with a group, because then you share ideas and people's strengths come in and complement.
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple: set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy, you focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time.
Then it goes to the weekly. So these are following the exact days. This is for 2026. So this is our book that starts January 1. So it's ending here in December and rolls into. So the weekly task is here on the left, anything that should be done every single week. So our thought is this: can you get 2 reviews a week? 2 reviews a week is 100. What is that? 104 for a year. So requesting reviews, we could do this more. You can still have we've got notes sections where you can jot in more. Up here, Sean, is our SOI total, A and Bs. So we categorize, like a lot of people do, our sphere of influence, which are your relationships that probably would send you business, either definitely would, might. So Bs are, you think they would send you business. As are, you for sure would send you business. We're a big believer that if you know your totals and every week you keep looking at this spot and seeing that it's not growing, you're going to learn the habit of tagging your people correctly. But if you don't know it, you're not going to actually get better at it. Logging into the CRM every single day. All these sections right here in the white every single day, there are times to make your sphere calls. So we expect our agents to make 6 to 10 calls, touches, texts, social media comments every single day. It doesn't take long. You're probably thinking maybe take an hour a day to keep in touch with your sphere of influence, which are your A's who would definitely send you business, or B's you think they would send you business if you kept in touch better. So, and that's not only sphere of influence for your clients, it's sphere of influence within your agent networks. So are you reaching out to 5 people a day in your networks to create top of mind awareness? Are you jotting down your leads? You meet a lead today and you want to call them in 2 days. You could put them in the CRM, set a reminder, or you could just jot it for Wednesday. And then this is just to get everything out of your brain in front of you. And then the CRM kind of serves as a complement. Getting on stage is our terminology, from getting in front of a group of people, either an apartment complex events, it could be an open house, could be a home buyer seminar. But getting good at once a week, getting on stage. The easy way, do an open house. You want to do an apartment complex with an insurance provider. Insurance providers that do all of the renter insurances for an apartment complex are great resources to do apartment complex events with.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant avenue in.
And you're getting
a win-win.
Yeah, everybody wins. The property managers, one myth is most agents think they wouldn't let us do an event there because we have the incentive to sell them a house. They want you to do events there because they have a budget and they have to host events as the property manager. And if you're willing to come in with an insurance person or a contractor and do them for free, you're saving the complex money. They know they're going to buy a home anyway. So it's a good
and you spread goodwill, right? Like you're creating a community, you're helping promote the community within the community. And it's literally every person involved is winning.
Yeah. And here, so even if when getting on stage, what's one of the things we forget the most is you did an open house, you did an event, but did you actually follow up with any of the attendees? Get them into the CRM and do that component. We've got a box there. It's just a little reminder, do that last step. Don't do 80%, finish off the last 20.
That's usually where that's where I always went on the struggle bus.
Me too. Likely to sales, that's obviously Compass. These are some of the Compass. If you take a training every single day, or every single week. Again, this left side is weekly.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Jot down that one training you've been talking about. You were going to do that overview on collections or digital ads. I know we were talking about doing a training within Realtor 180 of digital ads.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do, and we would jot it down there, and that would become the training we did for that week. Think of 52 trainings that you could do a year and how much better you'd be at the end of the year.
Well, that you do that math, now multiply it by having 44 people on your team.
Uh,
That it just the numbers scale at such a staggering rate if everybody is participating.
yeah, absolutely. And getting shit done together.
Yeah. And
So
winning together. Like you when you're achieving, you're like, man, we're crushing it. Or even if you're just like slightly missing a goal, you're like, you know what, next year we are gonna go get this thing together.
100%. And the cool thing about this book was when you're using it, we meet as a team once a week, every Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. All the agents get together for a GSD training meeting,
Smart.
activity together.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is to celebrate wins, celebrate losses. So those people who are doing the work but aren't seeing the results yet are hearing all the people that are getting the results.
Yeah.
And so it fuels itself. Down here in the bottom left, Sean, just a quick overview. We call it full circle CRM when you have all the important data on your agents, or
Brilliant.
not your agents, your contacts.
Yeah.
So all that is it's just there to remind you to do some work on your CRM. That's where the value is to make sure that thing's up to date. And it just reminds people. We have notes sections, so they have places to write other stuff. It completes throughout the year. So then the weeks keep going, and then every month you get back to the new monthly overview where you can log your stats, what worked, what didn't work. And then at the very end are notes pages. We've got resource pages that have all of the pertinent information, our firm license number, agent's license numbers, our email distribution list, things that you need to remember. We have an index that has all the most important things that the team provides that they need to know how to use. Kind of a little how-to section on things that are important to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another reason for them not to not use it, if they've got everything in one book, we feel like they're going to do all the things that we know work. Keep in
Yeah.
touch with your sphere, doing your open houses. It's not about doing open houses. It's do them, track your numbers, and get better at them.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a Susie Adamson right there. 101 is keep everything in one place. Like,
Absolutely.
don't have it all spread out. Just go to one place. But I really appreciate the stats component because
Mm.
I feel like with a lot of these things that we hear all the time, the stats are never a part of it. Do more open houses, and you're like, well, one more is more. So is that more? Like, how are you defining it, and what are you measuring it against? So I really appreciate having that component. And I have an athletic background, so that it makes sense. I know I moved this much weight last week. This week I need to move this much more weight to have a gain, and I can then see these changes.
Oh yeah. Well, and the funny thing about baseball is we tracked all kinds of stats, but nowadays they're even so much more. You see pictures up there where they're looking at their sleeve and they're pulling stats on you so they know how to pitch to you. So if you're not getting better and know your own stats, well, your opponents certainly know your stats, at least in sports. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not dissimilar. I get called for a listing appointment, and then I say, "Are you interviewing any other agents?" And they're like, "Yeah, actually, we are." And I'm like, "Oh, would you mind sharing their name?" And then they tell you, "What's the first thing you do?" You look up their stats.
oh
You're
yeah.
like, "Who am I pitching against, and how do I find an angle that they don't have?"
Yeah, I have always wondered. You have a lot of agents that say, "Why would you ask?" Because maybe they weren't interviewing someone else and now they are. And I think, yeah, but what if they were interviewing you didn't know? It's I'd much rather know who I'm going up against
Yeah.
than not. But
And
that
it's funny, you reminded me, I have actually had somebody say, "Oh, should I?" Because they were only interviewing me, and I said, "No, you found the best, so there's no reason to proceed with anybody else." And I just made a joke of it, and they were like, "Oh, okay." And that was it. That was like the end of the conversation.
Yeah. I
Um,
think it's rare that they actually go and interview someone else because you told them to, or you even asked the question. You know, at the end of the day, they don't want to meet with a bunch of agents. They called you.
they called you for a reason.
Yep.
And I think clarifying that, but I also, and this is just my style, I would rather be upfront with people and ask those questions that I have so then I know how to better navigate to ultimately give them what they want and need out of this.
Absolutely. So there's our book. That's how we keep our agents focused. You had an analogy before about the blinders on the thoroughbred, and we want to create
Yeah.
thoroughbreds that don't get distracted by shiny objects. Let's just focus on what works. And
Man, the shiny object syndrome is the kiss of death,
oh,
especially being an entrepreneur. And post COVID, a lot of people still haven't transitioned fully to the office. It's so easy to grab that bag of chips and sit on the couch and watch Netflix.
oh, 100%. When we're interviewing agents, everybody says they're hardworking and they love to show up at the office all the time. I don't know if they have a different definition of hardworking than I do.
Well, that goes back to your stats. Measure it. How are you defining it, and how are you improving it?
Really, it's so true. So true. Well, I was the one who was chasing shiny objects. I've been with Boomtown, Tiger Leads, which I'm not even sure if they exist. With Sync, we've studied them all,
Yeah.
and we realize how much, man, all the core things that we do every day that we know work. Why aren't we doing more of it?
It's fascinating too. Similarly, doing this podcast, which I think I'm at like 150 guests, which hour or two each episode. That's hundreds of hours logged, and it's fascinating because I absolutely see the through line of these high performing agents. Another fascinating thing is a lot of the high performers have some sort of athletic background where discipline is from an early age has been ingrained in them and they just get it on different a
Mm-hmm.
different level. And there's other interesting psychological perspectives, but there's the ability to not chase the shiny object, but also have the ability to observe things as they actually are, not better than they are, not worse than they are, but see it as how it is, and then course correct from that, and or hire the right person or make that right move. But having this like more objective ability to observe
Mm-hmm.
is it's been a really interesting component that I found as a through line with people.
Sure. I've got a quick story for you how this book really came to be. Was Ben Laster on our team was he's kind of the poster child of following the roadmap. If he said, Sean, what should I do now? And you said, go across the street, sit at the bar. That bartender knows everybody in town. Become his best buddy. And then he comes back and he's like, all right, we're going to play golf this weekend. What's the next thing I can do? That's where we need to put this in a book.
Yeah,
The things work.
yeah.
And anyway, I say that story to say that we all come in the business. We are kind of told what to do, but then we get busy. We don't do it. We start focusing on the shiny objects
Yeah.
and to put a little bit of organization, like you said, to create the discipline piece.
Yeah.
Um, it, we've just found success to it, and we love inviting people to our GSD meetings, giving them copies of the book if they want it. They can logo it to them. It doesn't necessarily have to have our logo on it. It could be theirs. We don't sell it. So
That's incredible. I mean, I seriously was sitting here and I was thinking, this book it has to be in the thousands. Like it, as a course, it's one of the most robust and just clear and simple things I've seen. And I was like, literally, I was like, I mean, he's done 2.5 billion in sales. He's built this huge team, and all these team members are doing it. This book has to be worth a boatload of money. And then you're like, well, I'll just give it to you. Like,
well,
who does that, Andy?
we love helping. We love collaborating. We know that people are going to share amazing ideas back. So going back to remember what we said, if you did 2 reviews and over 30 people before you realize that you have so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if you give me one idea that I wasn't thinking about and I can implement it across 30 people, or I give you an idea and you've got a network of 70 agents? That's a lot of people doing a lot of great things together. And you know what comes around goes around. People will remember us for the Carolinas. So
And I
that's
think
what.
that's the hallmark of your character is you've every time I've interacted with you, you've always been just super generous. If I call you with a question, you take my call, and it's really a cool community, and I can only imagine with your team that level that they bring. And so I mean, it's the simple rule of reciprocity, and give without expectation, it comes back to you tenfold. And I'm sure, I mean, it clearly, you can't, it's impossible to have done 5,000 plus sales, helping that many families without just doing incredible good with a team. Like, it's just not mathematically possible. Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show.
Well, thank you. I've also got gray hair, so I've been doing it a little while too. So there's a little temptation, having been out there quite some time. So, but we do think things like this, ideas like this, and working as a community, we should all be sharing ideas to get better quicker. And that's what I love about your network, Realtor 180. It's amazing people, and everybody's got such amazing superpowers.
I the to kind of get everybody or to share what you're talking about. So I there's a group that is of the past guests, and we all get together and share, and it's holy shit. I every time I'm in there, I'm like humbled by the caliber of agent who's in there, and the willingness to share, and the stuff they share, what works, what doesn't work, why it
Mhm.
didn't work. These were all the things I totally mucked up. I would never do them again. Please don't do those. And you're like, oh my God. Like the yeah, I'm always beside myself every time we get off one of those calls, and I'm have a notebook full of better ways to do things. And so again, I appreciate your willingness to share this book. If somebody wants to grab this, should they reach out to you or your team? What's the best way to?
Yeah, we're in the process of putting website downloadable, some some avenues that would make it super easy. I would say right now to reach out to us.
Okay.
And the easiest thing is my email address is andy@bovenderteam.com. Info@bovenderteam hits a larger group of marketing people at the team. We, if it's not too overwhelming, we're willing to customize these books for people. They pay for their own printing. We just will put their logos on them, so they're using their book, not necessarily our logoed book. So
Incredibly generous.
I would say email for now until something's set up to make it easier. But if
Cool.
they do, we would encourage them. Please come join a meeting so you can actually see
Yeah.
the interaction, the actual GSD in action in real time. That will make the book make more sense, probably better than what I've even done here for the 20, 30 minutes with you, Sean.
I mean, I would agree. I mean, having a copy of it and sitting down with it, especially if you're solo or you're a team lead and you're wanting your team to adopt this, having more regular way to adopt it and learn it and understand it and internalize it for yourself. Leaders go first. It it would only make sense.
Yeah.
And again, like if I I was assuming that this thing would cost somebody a couple grand to be a part of, to get the book, and to
Mhm.
have this, and you're gifting it to them. So that's amazing. So thank you, and I appreciate what you do for our community as that as the swath of agents, there's 2.5 million of us, and I appreciate what you're doing out there.
Oh, well, we love it. And I hope we can just do more of getting more people to be super collaborative.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of your networking group, networking, whether it's your sphere, vendors, or agents, it's so important. But the moderator of great groups is the key. And you
Mm.
are amazing at moderating a networking group. It
Thank
is.
you.
That's why that one's so good. Yes, you've got superstar agents that come to that and have great ideas, but it's the moderator that sets the tone of the whole group. So you do an amazing job.
Dude, Andy, that was, thank you. Honestly, I really genuinely appreciate that. And I usually deflect compliments, but I follow a rule, consider the source. And I value you. And so I take that to heart and I appreciate that. So thank
You
you.
you really do a great job. It's true. So thank you for having me on for go round number 2.
Dude, this was, I mean, I'm stoked. And what you share is always incredible. Before you go, I would love to pick your brain for just a couple more minutes. If you got the time and bandwidth, because you've obviously done a killer job at recruiting. I would love to just spend a couple minutes going back to the very beginning and talk to the agent who maybe they have one person on their team, maybe they just lost a person, they're kind of starting from scratch. How do you go about the recruiting aspect, or how would you if you were starting from zero? And then who would you look for? And what would that person embody?
Mm. Well, first for us is they have to be a yes person.
Say
So
more.
they have to love team, doing things together, helping each other. Because I honestly, believe it or not, we don't care if they sell 10 homes or 50 homes, because if they're helpers, they're adding so much value to the overall team culture.
Good way to look at it.
And so we love culture and that helping each other. That would be first and foremost. That's what I interview the most for. Earlier, I'd mentioned hard work. People say they're hardworking. We unfortunately find that out, a month, 2 months into them being with us, that they're not quite as hardworking as they say they are.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can always interview for those pieces of it. The
Yeah.
sports background is a good plus. If they've got sports background, they typically do have a little bit more discipline in working as a team.
Yeah.
So I love to go after people who have been in sports and loved sports. But we've grown more word of mouth. But I would say my quick and easy answer, Sean, is if you told me you did 15 transactions a year or 25 transactions a year, I can quickly go into my head and see if I give you 5 more transactions by freeing up your time,
Mm.
you'll make as much, if not more here. Plus, we're going to wrap you around with so much incredible support.
Yeah.
So I know the number I have to achieve to get you here from a monetary standpoint, but I also need to dive into what would be the reason you'd even sit down and talk to me. Is it you want to have better quality of life? Well, I'm going to
Mm.
wrap so many people around you that you're going to be able to make good money and have a life. If you just want to make a lot of money, I'll show you between this book and what we can do for you. We're going to free up your time to generate another 5, 7, 10 transactions yourself. If we do everything from contract to close, can you make more sphere of influence phone calls?
Mm.
So if I can prove that we generate more sales for you, you not only get quality of life, but you get more sales, more income. Then you could do it on your own. It just costs far more for you to hire 2 or 3 support people than me hiring them and spreading them over so many more people. One idea I don't think gets enough weight is team leaders sharing support people with other teams, and you actually share staff versus bringing on somebody yourself. The best way, in my opinion, to scale is to find a team that you're really close with
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and hire a marketing person that's very clear on what they're going to do for both teams. It costs you
Oh,
half as much, but you get a full-time person. Now,
that's fascinating.
Now you've got them working on marketing projects that might be able to transfer over into my team as well. So now it's almost like a collaboration and share of a marketing person. So it's a way to scale without the full um, growth pain of why most people don't scale. They don't want to take on the cost of scaling. And I think that's a hybrid version of how to do it. So if
You
you
just
ever,
unlocked something for me.
oh, I hope so. So keep this in mind. You ever hire anybody and you just don't want the full cost, call us. We might take on the other.
Oh shit. So it's funny because I was just looking at a project and I'm like, it's not full time, but all the part time you get when you hire somebody part time, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
But full time, you get somebody who's fully engaged. And so that's the math problem I've been struggling with. And it's like, oh, I don't know why I didn't think of that. So thank
It
you.
to me, well, keep us in mind because I know our next one is we want full on videographer. Now that's not as easy to share that person across the country, but
It's not, but the person I need is the video editor and post production.
oh
And
yeah,
so we should talk.
yes, we should because they still a lot of that can be done remotely, and
It's all remote.
we want it. We're going to do it this year. It's just we'd rather baby step into it than
Yeah.
a big leap. And so I think more teams should be doing that. That's usually the number one question with building teams or scaling teams. It's who do you start with? Well, how do you do this? And it's instead partner. If you're a 5-person team and you find another 5-person team, you're really a 10-person team. It's
Yeah.
just two different logos and figuring out the systems of how you share somebody.
Yeah.
And I
It's
think it
true.
works.
Yeah. I mean, it totally makes sense. And I mean, if you have a good working relationship with that other person, you just set up a schedule and you work it out. But you're cutting, to your point, the costs are in half. And if
Hmm.
you need somebody high caliber, but you don't need them for a full week. It
Yeah.
just pencils out.
Well, and think one more thing, not to drag this on, but you're West Coast, I'm East Coast. The best way to share somebody is between 9 and noon. You're probably just getting rolling out there.
Yeah.
The time zone makes
Yeah.
it very easy to share somebody that may not necessarily need to be present.
All right.
We actually do have a part-time person that works for an agent in California, but she's our part-time listing manager, and it's a way for us to hybrid into getting our full-time second listing manager. So
Cool.
it's worked on that standpoint, but anyway, more teams should do it.
I have questions for you off air.
Okay.
I'm just curious of a couple things.
By the way, real quick before you end, what happened to your pinky? I hope it's a good story.
Oh, it's funny that you noticed that. I'm like, God, does everybody just think I painted my pinky?
Yeah, I did.
Um, it's driving me crazy. But my I was letting my dog out, and she was like, it was one of those days where she's like inside outside, and I was like, kind of like losing my mind, and went to go slide the slider shut, and when I did, my hand right at the very end slid off and landed on the frame, and the door slammed and
Well,
literally crushed my pinky, and I thought it fell off. Like it was the worst pain for a pinky.
well,
So
it looks like it.
it was, and it's funny. It's been a month, and the nail has not fallen off, and I just there's like a huge lump under the nail.
Hmm.
So yeah, good times.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for sharing with that. I think we've all been there.
Yeah, it's now the second time, and I've only done this as an adult. It's crushed fingers. I never did it as a kid.
Well, it keeps us all humble when we share stories like that.
That is true. I have a lot of those, a lot of aches and pains these days, along with the gray hair.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again for having me on.
Yeah,
I'll
man.
see
Thank you for carving out the time and for sponsoring this podcast. If anybody's been listening for any duration, they hear your name literally at the beginning of every single podcast. So
I,
again, thanks, man.
I love it. I love it. Well, we'll continue. We love the
Awesome. I appreciate it.
awesome. Thanks, Sean.